Throughout history, power has been always concentrated in the hands of a few, from the first tribal group to today's political elite. Sometimes, that power has been held firmly within bloodlines, passed down from generation to generation. In today's video, we're going to talk about the most powerful families in the world. Number 5. The Rockefellers. The Rockefeller family is known to be the most powerful family in the history of the USA. The Rockefeller family began when a guy called John D. Rockefeller started a business partnership with his brothers. They went on business in refining oil, when everybody in that time was pumping it. The discovery of giant oil reserves in Texas and the growing exploitation of oil in the Middle East made business go very well, having too little competition. Him and his brothers founded the Standard Oil Company, and their company had over 90% of the US pipelines and refining. His company made him the richest individual in history, with a net worth of $340 billion in today's dollars. Today, the Rockefeller family continues its agenda through controlling interests in Chase Manhattan Bank, ExxonMobil, Chevron, and BP. Going to number 4, the Morgan family. The House of Morgan were prominent in banking and conquered the world until the beginning of the 20th century. The family's fortune began with a guy called John P. Morgan, an American financial banker that dominated cooperative finance. Later, in 1893, the US economy looked set to plummet, but fortunately enough, John came to the rescue. He put together a syndicate of bankers, which included the Rothschilds. Morgan used the US bond to buy back gold from foreign investors, thus restoring public faith in the dollar and stabilizing the economy. This golden bond exchange, however, allowed Morgan to effectively control the US gold supply, which let him finance the creation of US Steel and General Electric, not to mention that he also created a leverage over the government. After his death, his son carried his legacy, and the family financed the creation of America's largest cooperations, including AT&T. Some suggest that the family used this leverage to force America into World War I in order to protect loans they made to Russia and France. It is also rumored that the Morgans played a role in encouraging the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Today, the Morgans own the largest private gold vault, and they maintain their power by lending governments money. Going to number 3, we have the DuPont family. Sired by a French immigrant who immigrated to the United States in the 1800s, the DuPont family has built an empire based on manufacturing industrial chemicals and military munitions. The family's gunpowder factory quickly became the largest supplier of gunpowder and dynamite to the US military. Like so many other monopolies, the DuPont monopoly was broken in the early 1900s, but the family still managed to maintain a huge market share to the global munition industry, having supplied nearly 40% of all munitions used by Allied forces during World War I. Unlike the Morgan family, the DuPont had at least some obligation to the nation they were profiting from, and so during World War I, when the US government needed help producing plutonium for ending the war, the DuPont company designed and built one of the largest plutonium plants in the country, all while keeping it an absolute secret. In the 1950s, after the Soviets exploded their first atomic bomb, the DuPont company once more cooperated with the US government to help America develop a hydrogen bomb, hoping to keep the US's edge over the Soviet competitor. The DuPonts are subject for a lot of wild-eyed conspiracy theories and are blamed for helping spread the US's prohibition of hemp and cannabis in 1937. They want cannabis banned in order to protect their nylon manufacturing. Going for number 2, we have the Bush family. Best known for President George W. Bush and George Bush Sr., the Bush family began its climb to international power with Prescott Sheldon Bush, a U.S. banker that attempted hand-in-hand with the Morgans and Rothschilds to install a fascist system in the U.S. For years, the family was accused of hugely profiting from World War II and for having established business with cooperation that financed Hitler's government. Both Prescott's son and grandson became president of the USA, and both initiated wars against Iraq to profit companies they owned, like KBR and Halliburton. Having had 2 members become president of the most powerful nation on earth has garnered this family international prestige and connections, making them without a doubt one of the most powerful families in the world. Down to number 1, we have the Rothschild family. With more than $100 trillion in assets, the Rothschild is one of the richest families in the world, and it all started in the 1760s when a man called Mayer Rothschild established his banking business in Germany. He expanded his business by placing his 5 sons in 5 different financial capitals like Paris and London. The family became a pioneer in international financial business during the industrialization. As Europe plunged along the Industrial Revolution, the Rothschilds were there to finance Europe's wars. They lent England $10 billion in today's dollars to help finance the war effort against Napoleon. By this time, the Rothschild fortune was so vast and their financial network was so elaborate that they actually received the news of Napoleon's defeat in Waterloo a full day before the British government. Such stunning displays of international power and reach have for a long time cast the Rothschilds under extreme suspicion, and they have throughout history been blamed for pretty much every major war or other catastrophe, often portrayed as nothing more than money-hungry and evil to the point of profiteering from the human misery. Today, the Rothschild family is said to maintain control through the US Federal Reserve. Their money now is invested in finance, real estate, winemaking, energy, agriculture, and more. If you like this video, please drop a like button and comment below who you think is the most powerful family in history.